Hi, it's Richard Bromwell here from Charterhouse Auctioneers, going to give you a bit of a talk through our classic and vintage car auction coming up on Wednesday, the 10th of April. Now, as those of you who listen to our rantings every now and again know, Matthew normally joins in, but actually he's away on holiday, sunning himself in his local village. Anyhow, so here's a bit of a look through the auction coming up. Unusually, we've got a brace of 1930s Morrises. Here we go. And first up is the 1932, the Morris Minor two-seater sports. Now, generally, if you say sports and convertible these days, you think of something maybe a little bit more purposeful. But this is what you got back in 1932. This one has the advantage of having the later Series E engine and gearbox, there we are, no doubt put in for up-rated sports performance there. Quite a pretty looking car though, isn't it? And you know, this always reminds me of the little kiddies TV series of Brum, which my kids certainly watched many years ago. That little yellow car, which I think came from the museum over Bourton-on-the-Water, didn't it? So this one is probably round about the sort of the £7,000 to £8,000, and it's closely followed by its stablemate, which is the 1936 Morris 8 Tourer. This one has got an older restoration, but still holding up really quite well, and has a lovely long-term family ownership of around about 18 years. Pretty there with the maroon and the red interior, and again, you know, you can get in that, pop down your village pub on a Sunday afternoon and enjoy it. Now, also, if you want to enjoy it, is certainly one of my favourites in the sale, which is the 1949, the Rover Land Rover, which is what it technically is, because it was a Rover, which they called a Land Rover. Now, really early model this. You've got the headlights set inside the grille. You've got the pull handle gearbox there, and I just love the condition of it. And again, it's an important early vehicle, but you could certainly take that down to your local supermarket, and as someone that gave it a bit of a kiss with a shopping trolley, you wouldn't lose too much sleep over it. Very early vehicle, this one, estimated round about sort of £18,000 to £20,000. It was bought by the owner when he was working in Australia as a miner, and brought it back from Australia, so nice to see that one repatriated. Also, another sort of a great British motoring car, here we go, is a 1962, the Triumph Vitesse Project. Those of you who know me, I'm a bit of a Triumph nut. I've had Spitfires, Vitesses, Stags, Heralds, you name it, I've pretty much had it. And this one is particularly interesting because this 62 Vitesse 6 is one of the very first 100 come off the production line. So it's a project, it's a great project for someone, around about the sort of £3,000 to £4,000 on that one. Other end of the scale, we've got a very pretty looking 1983 Ferrari 400i in right-hand drive, so very rare to see that in right-hand drive. Love the blue colour on it here. In my youth, I remember one of my neighbours, when I was living at home with my parents, he had one of these, and I remember opening the window because you could just hear it coming from miles away. So a particular favourite of mine, front engine, V12, had a lot of money spent on it, very low mileage, and it's got about 35,000 miles from new, and that one's estimated between £25,000 and £30,000. But if you don't like your V12s, you like them nice and simple, then we've got a 652cc Fiat Abarth Recreation. Now this one is a left-hand drive model. For those of you with the sharp eyes, you can probably see that. And it was actually made in 1996 in Poland. And when it was in Poland, it got updated to sort of Abarth specification, and then was imported into dear old Blighty in 2016. So it's UK registered, left-hand drive. Look at that engine. I mean, you can certainly have some fun in that as well. Estimate on that round about the sort of £6,000 to £7,000. But if petrol's not your idea of fun, what about a diesel? Now, we've got the 1949 Land Rover, but we've also got a 2001 Defender. And for those of you who know your Land Rovers, you'll immediately recognise this as a Tomb Raider limited edition model here. You've got your double cab, you've got your alloys, you've got your rollover bar, it's leather interior, it's got air conditioning, stainless steel exhaust, lots of extra bells and whistles and lights and bits and pieces. Here we go. A couple of years ago in 2016, it had a new galvanised chassis put on it, and basically it's a giant Tonka toy, and no, sadly you don't get Lara Croft coming in with it. This one is coming in for auction round about the sort of I think it's round about sort of £13,000 to £15,000. And finally, my favourite one of the sale is the 2006 Mercedes-Benz E36 in the saloon here. The first shot we've got here of the rear of it, which is generally what you will see as it goes past you. And again, certainly as I bought my first Mercedes years ago, which was a slow diesel, I certainly lusted after the E36 estate. And this one was supercar performance and a very modest estimate of around about the £10,000. So that's a bit of a quick little look through our classic and vintage car auction coming up on April the 10th, and I hope you enjoyed the talk.